Who saw this coming? Pierre-Luc Dubois to the Washington Capitals for Darcy Kuemper in a straight-up deal. To talk about how we got to this point, here's Bryan Hayes. Bryan, the important thing here was the timing of it. Pierre-Luc Dubois, no move, kicked in on July the 1st. They get this in just under the wire, so Dubois really had no say in where he was going. Dubois was shipped out of Columbus where it didn't work out, shipped out of Winnipeg where it didn't work out, and clearly it has been an awful failure with the LA Kings as well. What is going on with this guy? What are your thoughts on the big deal?
Well, it's a massive indictment of Pierre-Luc Dubois that the LA Kings paid the price to get him out of Winnipeg and then literally paid him a massive price on a long-term deal at big money. And a year into it, they realized we've got to move off this player. And it's also an explanation as to why they weren't contemplating buying him out, Gino, which is a question that was hovering around him and the team as the season concluded. But clearly, Rob Blake and company, they realized there is a trade market for him. And he is an enigma in the league because he's a very talented player. And when he's on his game and he shows up and wants to play, he is an impact player. He's a big guy that can score. He's got playmaking ability. And yet, he's not a guy who consistently shows up. And personally, I wouldn't go anywhere close to Pierre-Luc Dubois because of that history. I think he has shown who he is in the NHL, yet he's clearly finding a new spot because of that talent. And talent prevails in pro sports. If you have it, teams believe they can find it out of you consistently. And I think with the Washington Capitals here, Darcy Kuemper was a swing and a miss. Right? He won the Cup. They gave him big money. His first year, he worked pretty well. This year, it was Charlie Lindgren who was starting games. So they're moving off Kuemper to bring in Dubois. And it appears to me, Gino, that the whole existence of the Washington Capitals right now, their whole mantra, it revolves around Ovechkin chasing Wayne Gretzky and surpassing Wayne Gretzky in terms of goal scoring. And they moved off Kuznetsov last year. Backstrom's not going to return. They're thin up the middle of the ice. And they're willing to take on Dubois, probably accept the flaws in his game with hopes that he pushes Ovi over the top. That's the only explanation right now. It's an indictment on Pierre-Luc Dubois and his whole career, yet the money's guaranteed, the contract's guaranteed, and as of July 1 is no move and no trades kicking in. So Washington better gear up here because Pierre-Luc Dubois is coming to town and you have no idea what you're going to get every single night.
There was so much hope. There was so much expectation for this guy because his skill level looked to be so high. Is there a chance that a change of scenery yet again, maybe a better fit this time around, changes him? Or is it going to be up to Washington Capital management and coaching staff to somehow figure out a way to get the best out of this guy, things that the Jackets, the Jets, and the LA Kings obviously could not?
Yeah, it feels like the latter, which shouldn't be the case, Gino. For pro athletes, especially veteran athletes in their mid-20s who have been around for a while with immense talent, who have, again, signed big contracts and are getting big money, and in the salary cap era, that means you have big responsibilities. It should be on the player, but it hasn't shown up that way for Pierre-Luc Dubois. So it probably is on the head coach down there, Spencer Carberry. It probably is on his teammates to insulate him and prop him up. But this could be a humbling situation for Pierre-Luc Dubois, and I hope it is. I'm pulling for the guy. I don't have anything against him. His career is what it is. He's an immense talent, third overall pick. He's been in the league for a long time. He's a guy that can contribute. Quite frankly, if he played the way we've seen him play at his height, Gino, we'd be talking about him as a candidate to play for Canada in the Four Nations Cup at the Olympic Games. That's how good he is. In his prime, when he plays his best game, his A game, he is capable of being on the national team. That's how good he is, and that's why he keeps getting cracks. And I will say this, for Washington, who's not a great team right now, they don't have a ton of talent. Like I said, it's about Ovechkin passing Gretzky. If you can untap something here from Dubois, then you found something here. And you gave up a goaltender in Darcy Kuemper who you don't believe in anymore, who's making over $5 million, so the numbers are somewhat negligible in terms of the cap hit you're bringing in here. So it might be worth a shot. I have my doubts based on Dubois' history, but if he's been humbled, and if they insulate him, and Carberry can push the right buttons and this guy takes off, look out, because he's got immense talent and he's a really good player. He just has to prove he wants to be on a nightly basis.
Make no mistake, the LA Kings certainly believed in Pierre-Luc Dubois. They gave up Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, Gabe Vilardi, and a second-round pick in order to bring him in. It didn't work out for them. The Caps now are saying, we believe in you. We'll see how that works out for them.